Itachi Uchiha is one of the most tragic and misunderstood characters in the Naruto universe. At first glance, he seems like a cold-hearted villain, the man who mercilessly slaughtered his entire clan, including his parents, and left his younger brother Sasuke with nothing but hatred. But beneath that icy exterior lies a story drenched in sacrifice, pain, and unimaginable burdens that no child should ever carry. His life is not just a tale of power and brilliance, but of suffering and loneliness. From the time he was a child, Itachi carried responsibilities that crushed him under their weight. He was expected to be a prodigy, a savior of his clan, and a loyal shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. These conflicting loyalties tore him apart, forcing him to make choices that would scar him forever. Every decision he made came at the cost of his own happiness, and every step toward strength pushed him further into isolation. Itachi's story isn't about cruelty, it's about love. Every harsh action, every cold stare, and every calculated move he made was driven by a desire to protect. He bore the hatred of the world so his brother could live in peace. He destroyed his own life so the leaf could survive. And he endured being branded a traitor so others could remain innocent. His sacrifice is what truly defines him. To understand Itachi's coldness, you must look past the mask of indifference he wore. His silence hid cries for help. His brutality hid compassion. His betrayal hid loyalty. It is in these contradictions that his pain becomes evident, and his coldness transforms from cruelty into a shield against despair. 1. The burden of a prodigy. Itachi was labeled a genius from an incredibly young age. While children his age were playing, he was already training in advanced shinobi arts, held to standards far beyond his years. Instead of living a normal childhood, he was burdened with expectations no child could handle. Being constantly compared to others and praised for his brilliance was not a gift, but a curse. Itachi never had the chance to fail, to stumble, or to simply be human. Every success only led to higher expectations, and every mistake was treated as catastrophic. This pressure suffocated him. The genius label made him feel detached from everyone else. He couldn't connect with other children, couldn't show weakness, and couldn't share his fears. This isolation planted the first seeds of his loneliness, a loneliness that only deepened as he grew older. 2. Witnessing war as a child. From the age of 4, Itachi witnessed the horrors of the Third Great Ninja War. He saw bodies lying in the battlefield, lives lost without meaning, and the cruelty of endless conflict. For a child with a sensitive heart, this trauma was devastating. Instead of growing up with love and innocence, he grew up with bloodshed and despair. These sights haunted him and shaped his worldview, that peace was fragile, and hatred was eternal. He learned early that violence would always overshadow kindness. This exposure to war robbed him of his childhood. Itachi became wise beyond his years, but also emotionally scarred. He realized that true peace might never exist, which left him carrying an unshakable sense of hopelessness. 3. A split between clan and village. The Uchiha clan always felt alienated from the leaf, and Itachi was caught in the middle of this tension. On one hand, he loved his family and clan deeply. On the other, he believed in the ideals of the village and wanted to protect it. This loyalty to two opposing sides tore him apart. No matter what choice he made, someone would suffer. Supporting the clan meant betraying the village, and supporting the village meant betraying his clan. For a teenager, this was a no-win situation. This impossible choice planted the seeds of his coldness. He realized that sometimes love means sacrifice, and sometimes peace comes only through blood. Carrying that knowledge crushed his spirit, leaving him with a permanent burden of guilt. 4. Isolation from his peers. While others saw him as a prodigy to admire, Itachi had no true friends who understood his pain. His brilliance set him apart, but it also created a wall between him and others his age. No one could truly relate to his struggles. This loneliness only deepened when he joined ANBU Black Ops. Surrounded by older, hardened shinobi, he had no one he could open up to. He lived in silence, bottling up his emotions, and becoming colder with each passing day. The lack of companionship taught him to rely only on himself. But this self-reliance came at the cost of warmth, leaving him emotionally distant and unable to express his true feelings openly. 5. His father's expectations. Fugaku Uchiha, Itachi's father, was both proud and demanding. He constantly reminded Itachi that he carried the clan's pride, and that his success would define the clan's future. This immense pressure chained Itachi to responsibilities he never asked for. Instead of receiving unconditional love, Itachi often felt like his worth was tied to his performance and loyalty to the clan. Fugaku rarely saw his son as just a child, he saw him as a tool to advance the Uchiha's influence. This lack of emotional freedom wounded Itachi deeply. While he respected his father, he also longed for the freedom to choose his own path. But because Fugaku's eyes were always on him, Itachi grew colder and more distant, burying his true desires under duty. 6. The coup d'état pressure. The Uchiha clan planned a coup against the Hidden Leaf, and Itachi was caught in the center of it. He was torn between protecting his clan's honor and ensuring the safety of the village he loved. It was the cruelest dilemma anyone could face. Both sides pushed him for loyalty. His clan saw him as their hope, while the Leaf saw him as their key to stopping rebellion. In reality, he was just a boy forced to make impossible decisions with catastrophic consequences. The burden of knowing he might have to betray one side forever shattered him emotionally. This pressure to act against his own family, all while hiding his true turmoil, is what truly began to freeze his heart and turn his love into silent suffering. 7. The night of the massacre. Perhaps the most defining tragedy of Itachi's life was the Uchiha massacre. Ordered by the Leaf to kill his entire clan, he faced the nightmare of slaughtering his parents, cousins, and everyone he had ever known. The weight of that night never left him. While others believed he was merciless, the truth was that every strike cut deeper into his own soul. The massacre wasn't just the death of the Uchiha, it was the death of Itachi's innocence and peace. Living with the memory of killing his loved ones haunted him for the rest of his life. Itachi chose to be cold so he could carry this unbearable guilt without breaking completely. His heart froze, not because he was heartless, but because he cared too much. 8. Leaving Sasuke behind. The hardest part of the massacre wasn't killing his clan, it was leaving Sasuke alive. Itachi loved his little brother more than anything, but he knew Sasuke could never understand the truth. Instead, he became the villain in Sasuke's eyes. To push Sasuke toward strength, Itachi deliberately played the role of the cold-hearted murderer. He insulted him, mocked his weakness, and told him to hate. But inside, every cruel word he spoke tore him apart. He was protecting Sasuke in the most painful way possible. This contradiction, hurting the person he loved most to protect him, was unbearable. The bond he cherished was shattered, and he carried the guilt of traumatizing his brother for life. That pain forced him into an even colder shell, one that hid his burning love for Sasuke. 9. Being hated as a traitor. After the massacre, Itachi was branded a traitor by the Hidden Leaf and feared across the world. People whispered his name as if he were a monster, never knowing that he had done it all for the village's survival. Living with that false identity was like carrying a constant wound. No one respected his sacrifice. No one honored his choice. Instead, he lived as a criminal, despised by those he once protected. For someone who longed for peace, this hatred was poison to his heart. The loneliness of being misjudged became part of his coldness. To the world, he was a ruthless killer. In truth, he was a man who sacrificed everything, even his reputation, for others. That hidden truth weighed heavier than any blade he ever carried. 10. Joining the Akatsuki. After leaving the Leaf, Itachi joined the Akatsuki. To outsiders, this was proof of his villainy, but in reality, it was another sacrifice. He infiltrated the organization to keep the Leaf safe, monitoring the world's most dangerous criminals from the inside. Being surrounded by killers, mercenaries, and broken souls forced Itachi to adapt. He had to match their coldness, show no weakness, and blend in with their ruthless ways. To survive among monsters, he had to wear the mask of one. This only deepened his detachment from his emotions. Each mission with the Akatsuki made him seem colder, but in truth, every step was part of his plan to protect peace. His kindness was hidden under layers of cruelty, and the world never saw the man he truly was. 11. The Curse of the Sharingan. The Sharingan is a powerful tool, but it is born from pain. Every evolution of the Uchiha eyes comes from trauma, loss, or overwhelming emotions. For Itachi, unlocking and using this power came at an immense emotional cost. Each time he used his Sharingan, he was reminded of the people he had lost, the sacrifices he made, and the lies he carried. The very tool that made him strong was also the curse that chained him to his suffering. This constant reminder of loss carved coldness into his soul. His eyes reflected his pain, but the world only saw them as weapons. The Sharingan became a symbol of everything he had given up, his family, his peace, and his happiness. 12. The Burden of Being Genius. Being a genius isolated Itachi, but it also made him responsible for solving problems no one else could. The village elders, the Uchiha clan, and even his peers placed impossible expectations on him simply because of his brilliance. The smarter he became, the lonelier he felt. His genius created a gap between him and the rest of the world. Instead of admiration bringing him closer to people, it built walls that pushed him further away. Over time, this sense of being different fueled his coldness. When you can't relate to anyone, you stop trying to connect. For Itachi, his intellect wasn't a blessing, it was a curse that deepened his solitude. 13. Dying with the truth hidden. When Itachi finally died, Sasuke still believed he was a monster. He never revealed the full truth about his sacrifices, because he didn't want Sasuke to bear the guilt of knowing. He chose to die as a villain, not as the loving brother he truly was. This decision reflects the ultimate tragedy of his life. To the world, he was a traitor; to Sasuke, he was a murderer, but in reality, he was the greatest protector the Leaf ever had. His truth died with him, buried in silence. Dying misunderstood, hated, and alone was the coldest fate of all. Yet Itachi accepted it, because love for Sasuke and peace for the Leaf mattered more than his own happiness. His final act was the ultimate sacrifice of self. Itachi Uchiha's story is not just one of pain, it is one of the purest forms of love hidden behind sacrifice. He carried the weight of expectations, betrayal, war, and isolation, yet he never once strayed from his mission to protect those he loved. His coldness was not a reflection of his heart, but a shield to endure the unbearable. Every tragedy he faced stripped away pieces of his humanity, but he held on to just enough to ensure Sasuke's survival. His love for his brother became both his greatest strength and his greatest curse. Even in death, his final smile toward Sasuke revealed the warmth he had buried all his life. Itachi's life reminds us of a painful truth: sometimes heroes are never recognized as heroes. Sometimes love is expressed through silence, sacrifice, and even cruelty. And sometimes, the ones who suffer the most are the ones who protect us the most. His coldness was not born from hatred, it was born from love. A love so powerful that he gave up his childhood, his honor, his reputation, and even his life, just to create a future where Sasuke could live free. His suffering carved him into a tragic figure, but his choices carved him into a legend. When we remember Itachi, we shouldn't see him as the villain of the Uchiha massacre. We should see him as the man who bore all hatred to give others peace. His pain turned him cold, but his heart always burned with love. That is the true legacy of Itachi Uchiha.